Thank you, everyone, for joining us for the STEAMpower Conference. I'm Michelle Houle from the San Diego County Office of Education, and I will be your room facilitator today. Once again, I'm joined by our Zoom host, Annabelle Morales, and we ask that everybody please keep themselves muted unless asked otherwise during the presentation, but feel free to use the chat to ask questions during the session. And now I would like to introduce Dr. Corey Sewell with the presentation STEAM and SEL, Overcoming Tech Fatigue with Engaging Tech Adventures. Take it away, Dr. Corey.
Oh, yes. Look at that amazing, amazing intro. I appreciate that. And I have an awesome co-host too. So let's not all put it on me. So give me a second. I'll go ahead and share my screen. That's cool, Jackie. All right, let's see. So share screen. All right. All right, booyah. So can everybody see that? All right. All right, so as you said, this is Overcoming Zoom Fatigue with Engaging Tech Adventures by myself, Dr. Corey Sewell, and by
Jacqueline Sarnice. Hi, everyone.
From Elevated Classrooms, okay? And so here we go. So just a quick intro. This is me, right? I am the executive director for hands-on technology education. My background, I went to undergraduate school at UC Riverside, and then I did graduate school, master's and PhD at University of Michigan, so go blue. In my professional life, I'm a CPU performance engineer. My favorite scientist, I really like Lonnie Johnson, who invented the super soaker. Who doesn't love super soakers? They're amazing. And I can't wait till we get outside again and be able to do that. And then one of my favorite STEM memories is just, way back when, 7, 8 years ago, writing the computer science curriculum for camp, and then the kids actually using it, enjoying it, and, seeing them grow up and kind of go take on their dreams. So that's really exciting for me. And that's kind of my background. And of course, John Wooden's quote, "Nothing will work unless you do." And so I love that one. All right. And so next up, let's see.
Hello again. So my name is Jacqueline, as I've already told you, and I'm the founder and CEO of Elevated Classrooms. I'm happy to be here co-presenting with my good friend and colleague, Dr. Corey today. Elevated Classrooms and hands-on technology education have partnered through a lot of events in the last year. So this is just another dynamic duo by us. I studied biology and secondary education at the University of Miami for undergrad. And then I studied education policy at the University of Pennsylvania for my Master's of Science in Education. My favorite STEM memory was back in the classroom. So I taught high school biology and biomedical science before I moved out to California a couple years ago. And one of my favorite memories was doing a PGLO DNA transformation lab. And if that's a lot of gibberish to you, that meant that we inserted a gene that caused bacteria to fluoresce and glow just like jellyfish. So we took that gene from those glowing jellyfish. By far my favorite lab I've ever done. And I still keep in touch with all those students. And my favorite scientists are the female trailblazers, that there aren't that many of them from before the 1900s that really kind of had participated in our knowledge of science. So Rosalind Franklin and Marie Curie. And then I love Angela Duckworth. She's another Penn affiliate. She has the character lab, and also Richard Ingersoll, who was my professor at Penn, who is one of the most famous scientists on teachers.
Amazing, amazing. So look at that. You've got a all-star background and a great person to work with. So we're going to do some cool stuff for this presentation. Alrighty. So on that theme, let's get started. Take it away. Zoom fatigue is everywhere, right? So what do you think about that?
So Zoom fatigue is everywhere. We've all been experiencing it. If we just look at this cat, it's a picture says 1,000 words, right? We're feeling that blue screen effect. We're feeling this overstimulus. We're feeling so many different sensory inputs coming from a computer, and that can be really taxing, even if it doesn't feel like we're not moving a lot.
Yep. And hey, it's not only just sensory input and all of that stuff, right? That's definitely valid, but our lives have been affected, right? Our households have changed, right? We're hybrid classrooms everywhere, right? We have parents being teachers and doing their job at the same time. You've got the pet reading the book. You've got maybe a kid having a great time, maybe the kid having a tantrum or fighting over screen time. There's all these things that have come into play. That's kind of a symptom of just being on Zoom and being on screen so much, and it's affected all of our lives. And there's a lot of positives, but then we do acknowledge that there are some things to work on as well, right? And so that's kind of the topic of the day. Like, hey, how do we do better with that with the tools that we have? All right. And so let's see here. Now, given that kind of forward, right? So imagine if workspaces were always in this way, right? So you had, students super engaged with what they're doing all the time, right? And I'm going to play a video for you. And imagine if this was how your STEAM education workspace would be. All right. So check this video out. Um, Hopefully I share with sound. Let's see. Let me know if you don't hear sound. So I have to reach if you don't.
Tell you.
Okay.
Hear it.
Okay, got it. Ooh, I did it. Oh, I got it. I got it right away. I don't know what I did, but I just got it.
He just got it, right? And so that's an amazing moment. And what if those were the moments that we always had, right? That aha moment, which Miss Jacqueline will speak to a little later, right? And of course, then you have these moments, right?
Oh, we also need the yes,
Yes, we did it, right? And we had an exciting moment. We fulfilled an activity, right? And we did the Square Robot Lab, right? And then and this is just, hey, this is just a game they're playing, and that's exciting too, right? And I just want to play that for a quick second. All right. And so the whole point here is, what if we leverage these moments a little more and made this a little bit more part of our virtual workspace? How do we get it to be more like that in our everyday learning, right? And so we think we have a solution for that. We think we have a way to propose to you all that will help in this space, all right? And so the first way, we think Tech Adventures gets us there, right? Helps us get there. And so we'll define that. So Tech Adventures by Hands-On Tech Education, as we define it, are engaging tech activities that are both practical and relatable to what Elevated Classrooms calls the whole education community, right? So what's something that everybody's going to point to and say, I know what that is, right? And so for us, people really love YouTuber adventures. People really love entrepreneurship and Shark Tank. People really love VR, right? And so when you get that, you also get happy STEAM students, right? So that's part of the solution. But then there's another part that we think is super important as well.
Social emotional learning. So just like yin and yang, you need soft skills to balance hard skills. And Elevated Classrooms, this is our elevated SEL model that we focus on 4 major SEL domains. And we're going to talk about these 4 domains today in the context of STEAM and tech adventures. So these 4 domains are active engagement, assertiveness, or having a voice, belonging, and reflection. And just like another yin and yang, these domains balance each other. So if you could click Dr. Corey.
Okay.
All right, so active engagement is going to balance reflection. Have you ever gotten really, really stuck in your own head and you need to go either move your body or do something to get yourself out of your head? That's a great way to bring in active engagement. And then one more. And also assertiveness is going to balance belonging. A lot of times you might see a student over asserting themselves in a negative way, and that can be a sign that they do not feel like they belong. But we want to talk about all 4 of those domains today in the context of STEAM tech adventures.
Awesome, awesome. And so that's your intro there. We think you need both. We think you need tech adventures, and we think you got to merge it with SEL to make the magic. And we're going to demonstrate that in a couple of activities, and hopefully that will help kind of spur the activity. So the first one we're going to do, all right, this is super fun. We're going to play some quick draw. It is amazing. I love quick draw. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to let you share, right? All righty, and let me stop sharing now. And Quick Draw is an amazing game. If you haven't heard of it, it's by Google, and I'll let you take it away.
All right. So I was first introduced to this activity over the summer from one of Hand-on Technology Education's instructors, and we're going to practice a concept that's actually teaching artificial intelligence, but it's really, really fun. So I'm going to invite you, if you want to take yourself off mute and you want to encourage my drawing, I am going to have to draw 6 things on this screen, and the computer is going to try to guess it. Are we ready? We got 20 seconds to draw a carrot.
Okay, we're ready. All right, 20 seconds to draw it. Let's go. Maybe there's like a little
ice cream. Oh, I know.
top thing going on. Oh, you got it. You got it.
My sound on the computer, though. Do you want to hear the computer guessing?
Oh, just make it a little lower. It's okay. It's fine.
Oh, you can hear it.
Yeah, we can hear it.
Okay. I'm gonna lower it. Elbow. This one's hard. Okay.
Draw an elbow. Maybe like a right angle.
I see me. Oh, I know. It's elbow.
Oh, got it quick. That was quick. Very, very nice. This
newspaper. How am I going to do that in 20 seconds? There's so many words on a newspaper.
You don't even use newspapers. Right.
I actually just started getting the New York Times.
Or suitcase. Or
like a little picture with like little text, like a magazine article,
I
maybe.
See calendar or keyboard or
like
the
a
Great
square
Wall
with like
of
lines
China.
underneath it, maybe.
I'm stumped.
Yeah. And maybe like a square over top.
Yes,
you got it. Oh, yes, there we go.
Thanks for those tips. I needed the lines. The lines were, I was getting too deep in the letters here.
All right, shorts. I think we got shorts.
Shorts, that'll be easy, right?
I see diving board. Oh, I know. It's shorts.
There we go. We're almost there. I have no idea.
What's a short monster as opposed to a tall monster?
Maybe think like Monsters Inc. Like maybe think like Cookie Monster.
Like Mike Wazowski.
Yeah, like maybe like a monster face
or
and like
or blueberry or lollipop. I see sheep. Oh, I know.
Oh wow, we're so off. I can't help you. Did it just
guess short monster? Okay, last one. Circle.
That should be straightforward. Around.
Oh, I know. It's a circle.
There we go. All right. Okay. So
do we want to go into one of these?
Yeah.
So
pick one.
How about the newspaper? Because that was the hardest one.
Okay.
And what we're able to see here is what the computer thought that this looked like. And at first, maybe it thought it was a calendar or a postcard. And then we can look at all of the other drawings that people have submitted that the computer has accurately guessed that this is a newspaper. And Corey, I think this is machine learning.
Yeah. This is machine learning. I think this is a really cool concept because what it's showing you is for a machine to learn, it needs to be trained. So one of our core concepts is, computers aren't smart. The people who code them are smart, right? So if you click the data link, all right, okay, this one's good too, right? So this was short monster. And it's going to see, hey, what are all the pictures that have been submitted to Google for short monster? And over time, it's going to learn this is what people think short monster, like what are the characteristics? How does it look like, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's really cool. And then like, if you see, there's over 50 million drawings that people have submitted, right? And hey, look at this here, right? And so based on that, there's a machine learning model, but all that really is a lot of training and a lot of submissions so that people can understand, or so that the computer can eventually learn what people draw that most as, what are the features of it, right? And so this was, which one? This is calculator. Look at all these calculators that people have drawn. And so the computer can, over time, train and learn, calculator probably looks like a square with some little circles underneath it or some squares underneath it. And so when you start drawing that, it's gonna guess that pretty quickly because those look similar to a lot of other shapes. And so that's the concept there. And I think that's really cool. And that's an example of STEAM, right? And also SEL too. So with that said, we're gonna give a little challenge to you. And let's do a little poll for the people on the call, right? So what do you have for the poll, Miss Jacqueline?
I can launch it, right?
Can you? Nice. And so the poll is saying, what tech adventure and SEL concepts did we demonstrate in this activity? All right. And so you might have got lost in how fun it was, which is awesome. Right. And now within that, we want to make sure that you understand how we weaved in the STEAM and the SEL parts of it as well. All right. And so the first question is, what tech adventure concepts were shown in this activity? Make sure you vote in the poll. All right. And so robotics, computer science, just take a guess. Was it artificial intelligence, right? Was it tech entrepreneurship, VR, et cetera, right? Just take your best guess. It could be multiple. That's cool too. And then also, what SEL concepts did we demonstrate in activity? Was this an example of active engagement? Was it belonging, assertiveness? Was it reflection, right? And so that's really important because we want to start thinking about being intentional about how we use these different concepts. Like we don't want to passively say, oh, we used SEL. We want to say, oh, we did that together to make the activity awesome, right?
Practical and purposeful is something I really like to say about lesson design or instructional design. And it looks like about half of you have voted. So if there's well, I guess not vote, submitted your response.
Yeah, there you go. We'll give it, so what the poll is, 1.5 minutes left. So we'll give it like 30 more seconds. So if you're gonna make a vote, make that vote now. And then we're gonna explain what we saw here, right? And kind of why we thought that certain aspects were taught and maybe certain others were taught. And so I think this would be really interesting. I think this would be really cool. All right.
10 more seconds. If you haven't put those answers in, make sure you submit if you want to be included. 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Here we go. Next. Okay. So given that, let's go to the next slide.
Are you also seeing my poll? Wait, we just stopped. You don't want to share results?
Oh yeah, share. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Are you able to see my screen and the poll?
I am. Yes, I am. Yep.
All right. So 70% of you said artificial intelligence, and I will say I messed up, just like a lot of teachers and educators, not messing up, but I sometimes give away the answer a little early. So some of you were listening and good job, but you saw that's not the only tech adventure, Dr. Corey.
Oh, yes. There are a number of them, right? So there's robotics, EE, there's artificial intelligence, there's YouTuber, there's entrepreneurship, there's VR. So I'd probably say computer science core, you could make an argument there. But what we were really trying to get, and this is a part of the artificial intelligence tech adventure. We're teaching about machine learning. We're teaching about what is the process to train a machine and use data to learn all these things. So that was really cool. And I mean, if you have another answer, like if you said tech entrepreneurship or VR or anything like that, definitely let us know in the chat, what did you think and how did that work? And because these kind of cross over a bit, which is what we really like. And what about the SEL concepts? How do you interpret those, Ms. Jacqueline?
Sure. So it's interesting to me that 100% of you said active engagement on this. And one of the things that Corey and I talked about ahead of time was we were going to pick in our head a certain domain that we wanted to showcase. But as you were able to see, it's really, I don't want to say easy, but it's natural sometimes to hit more than one domain. And since active engagement and reflection are actually just two sides of the same coin, it does make sense that active engagement and reflection would go hand in hand. For you as the participants, you're right. It was more active engagement because you had to really start paying attention to what the learner was drawing or what the teacher was drawing. But if you are the teacher or if you are the person that's doing the drawings, you have to think in your head in reflection about how do I draw a carrot or how do I draw a newspaper, and not just how do I draw it so it looks good, but how do I draw it so that a digital non-living thing can identify what it is. So hopefully you're able to see how reflection and active engagement really do go together here.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So yeah, so I think that's a really good example of, hey, you have some STEAM curriculum and you're going to leverage these SEL concepts to go ahead and accentuate your STEAM activities, and that kind of really kind of supercharges that and kind of makes it more engaging, more kind of overcomes in some ways that Zoom fatigue that we're all feeling, right? Because we're taking advantage of these soft skills and these hard skills, right? So that was really cool, and we're gonna do another one. All right. So we're gonna do something with scratch coding. All right. So I guess I need to share my screen for this, don't I? All right, here we go. Here we go. Let me go to
and if those of you are not, I'll put the link in the chat. If you haven't been on Scratch yet, we're not gonna, explain everything right this second about how to use it. But if this is a new tool to you, we want to give you the resource so that you can start tinkering or start introducing these tech adventure topics with your students as well.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm on Scratch. And so Scratch is a great environment for coding, for parents, for students, for educators, for everybody. And so one of the first things we do with Scratch is say, hey, this is a website that a lot of people are on, and they create all of their own projects. And when they make the project, they share them. So you can go to anybody's project and see how it is. So if I have a game that I really like or something I really want to do, then I can just go to say, let me type in Tetris because I'm so nostalgic about Tetris, right? And I'll say, oh, what? Somebody coded a Tetris game? That's cool.
Harry Potter Tetris?
Is there a Harry Potter Tetris?
Yes.
I'm very tempted because I don't know how the game works though. So this could be a disaster. But okay, fine. Let's try it out.
Teacher moment. You
Okay.
want to preview your content ahead of time instead of the first time being in front of learners, unless you are very confident on what's on the other end.
That's okay. This is Scratch and it's curated. So the thing about this is a Tetris game created by some user, and they've made it left or A or things like that. And so this is kind of cool. It's not my classic Tetris, so I'm gonna leave it there because I want the classic one. And so but the overall point is you can find things that you want, and so you can say, hey, what game do you really want to play? So Miss Jacqueline, what game do you think is super interesting? Like what would you like me to for here? That you want to play?
Super Mario.
Super Mario. Okay.
Side note,
So
I just found a Nintendo 64, or actually it came before Nintendo 64, and I'm really excited to make it work again.
You got an NES? Awesome, awesome. So look, somebody had a Super Mario game. This doesn't mean these is the real Super Mario. This is somebody that coded it, right? And so what I want to show is, yes, you can press the green flag to play the game and do some things.
I don't know if there's a way to turn the music down, but we can't hear anything above the Mario music. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's okay. So I just want to demo that part and then show that what's cool about it is you can look inside the code. So there's a time where we say, hey, try out what you want. And then when you find something you really like, look inside, right? And so, oh, wow, this is the code that somebody used to make Super Mario. And then within that, I can change it as I want, right? And so that's part of Scratch. That's part of just getting used to an environment, exploring and knowing that this is a fun place. And then the next part is, let's have you create something, right? And so we'll go to the Scratch Lab. So I want to go back all the way back to the beginning. So this is scratch.mit.edu. And when I want to get ready to code, I'll press create, okay? And let's see here. My project here is I want to figure out how to get the cat to go across the screen, to animate across the screen. How about that? That sounds fun. So
It does sound fun.
I'm gonna move the cat here, But before I do that, let's see if I can change some things here. So it's a white background. It's just blank. Let's see if I
I'm
can change.
allergic to cats. I don't, even if they're on the computer, I don't want to play with a cat.
Oh, okay. Well, let's change it up then. Okay, so instead of a cat, let's change it to something that you like. So I can go here and then I'll press choose a costume. And what would you prefer here instead of the cat?
I prefer dogs. You might be hearing my puppy be barking in the background.
Okay, so let's go to dog. All right. This one? Dog.
Yes, I like that dog.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna animate the dog across the screen instead of the cat because hey, that's what you like and that's awesome. And I appreciate that and want to support what you like. All right. And let's do a cool background too. So I can go to backdrop here and would you like the dog in the Arctic or
on the beach?
The beach? Where's the beach at? Where's it at?
Malibu.
Malibu. Okay, dokie. All right. So we're gonna get this dog walking across the screen, walk across the beach, right? And that's a great place for a dog to be. It's open space, right? So I think that's cool. I could go show you how to code this. You can attend the lab for that. But that's where I want to stop is we've kind of demonstrated something just in that experience. And so now let's go kind of measure what we were demonstrating, kind of pull that a little bit, okay? So stop sharing and then can you share the presentation afterwards?
Yes, I can.
All right, cool. So within that, let's see, we explored some Scratch coding, which was amazing, and I love Scratch. But in the poll, what tech adventure and what SEL concepts were we showing in that activity?
And while you're voting this time on your poll, perhaps if anybody wants to take themselves off mute and elaborate on their results while we're waiting for the answers to come in, I think Dr. Horry and I would love to invite you to do that.
Yep. So why did you think it was active engagement? Why did you think it was belonging, right? And so if you have a inkling, just take yourself off mute. We would love to hear from you. And the poll results are coming in. I mean, all of them are getting clicked. So it's hitting a lot of boxes here. And that's really interesting. And this is something you want to think about though, when you're doing your activities, right? We have different concepts, the STEAM concepts that we're trying to activate. And we also have SEL concepts that we're also trying to include together to kind of really step up these activities. So Cynthia raised her hand. So
hi, yeah, I really like you kind of low-key implemented the SEL with Jacqueline there when you were like taking in her what is it, her opinion about the cat and the dog. Well, not opinion, but like what she likes, so
yeah,
you really took into consideration. So doing that with the kids, I think maybe as a group project in the beginning would be very helpful in our setting, at least for distance learning support. So exactly. I'm excited to share this with my staff.
That's cool. What do you think about that, local SEL expert, Miss Jacqueline?
I love that you picked up on that right away. And maybe if you haven't gotten your answers in, really quickly get them in now so we can show. But that is definitely what we were trying to do. We were trying to show how you can embed personalization. You can embed soft skills and make your students feel like they belong or they're engaged, or they can develop those other soft social emotional skills while they're also learning hard, complicated skills that we talk about in STEAM. I'll end and share the results now, so I'm not just speaking myself.
All good. And so let me elaborate a little bit on the concept here, right? And how we would teach this lab, right? So I love that you picked up on that again, Cynthia, is because yes, we're doing coding in this lab, right? This is computer science core, right? And so in our tech adventure labs, there's always adventures, but no matter what, every student gets some core curriculum. And so this is one of the first core labs, right? And we're teaching, and we want to get into the concept of algorithms. We want to get to loops. We want to get to all these things. But before you do that, you kind of need to get to belonging. You kind of need to warm them up, right? So how you typically think of, oh, here's an icebreaker, here's a warm up, all this stuff like that. Maybe you're a little bit more intentional about building that into your curriculum instead of like, hey, here's a lab and go through steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Instead of, designate that time to say, hey, we've got 5 minutes to pick the character that you like best, right? And then if you have a really kind of outspoken student, then you can kind of riff off of that student, right? So like you pick this and kind of go forward there. And then similarly, you can pick the background that you like best, right? And so even though that, you can say, oh, that's not coding, that is coding, right? You're setting them up, you're giving them that foundation to go forward, right? And so similarly, I mean, I like how there people said, it's robotics and all the different activities, right? You could see the foundation of that and all the activities because there's algorithms in every activity. Every activity needs steps. Every activity needs these to kind of go forward, especially for engineering. But particularly, we were stressing core computer science there, right? And then in terms of belonging, how would you kind of put that together?
So if any of you have seen any research or the trend on personalized learning, that's just a very small example, or this is a very accessible way to introduce personalized learning into your STEAM environments. Sometimes learners of all ages, if they feel blocked for some reason, if they feel like their existing understanding of the world or their existing knowledge conflicts with what you're showing them to do, like if this kid was deathly afraid of cats or really had this like negative connotation with cats, that came up on the fly, that wasn't exactly the direction we were planning on going, but you're going to get that buy-in from the beginning, which is one of the most important parts of learning, especially when students are traumatized, or especially when we're in these hybrid/virtual environments where you are fighting against so many distractions that already exist. So any opportunity that you can make these students feel like they belong and it's for them, not just everybody, and they have to sit and listen to it, but they feel heard and listened to and included, then that's going to increase the active engagement, which everybody clicked anyway, which again, this isn't a right or wrong answer. We were trying to spotlight belonging, but as we said, you can hit a lot of those domains.
Correct. And I think so, and I'll talk about this a little bit on the next slide about, we want to be intentional about some of these things, right? We don't want to passively say, oh, we included it. So let's recap a little bit. I know, we kind of went through some things, and everybody seemed to have very good responses, but just like, let's kind of recap the flow here. So number one, I'll do number one, and then I'll kick it to my I like to say partner in crime, my partner in excellence, right? So number one, we want engaging tech adventures to facilitate enthusiasm. Like we want to get the hard skills from our students. We want to say, hey, our kids are great in math and science. Hey, our kids are skilled in this or that, or our parents or our teachers, right? But to do that, we really think you need to bring in those practical and relatable activities, right? So those are the hard skills you want, like quick draw, machine learning. Those are things that people relate to and can say, I know, wait, Siri, Alexa, that's what it's trying to do. And so that's what you wanted, that aha moment, right? And then we'll click to the next thing, which is
the soft skills, social emotional learning, or sometimes social emotional development. There's a lot of different words, but we see now that as adults to be successful, especially in STEAM, you don't only need soft skills. You don't only need hard skills. You need to know what to do with those hard skills, and you need to know how to interpret your own inner warning signs, such as anxiety, and how to communicate those things outward. I'm not saying that that's the first way we start SEL. We start small, like we showed today, but if we build the foundation, then it's going to be so much easier for our students and all of our learners to thrive as they continue to grow and develop in the future.
Yes, amazing. And so with that together, right, and we think about like these different goals, right? So we want that renewed enthusiasm, like, you know what, I'm going to class today, and we're going to do something that's going to include what I like to do, right? And I'm going to get to be creative today. And we have our whole tech entrepreneurship theme. And part of that is, in any kind of engineering, is innovative problem solving, right? If you think about some of the best inventions, they come from being inclusive. They come from being equitable. They come from people saying, in my environment, we really need to consider this or that. And so when you use those SEL concepts, you're giving those students that practice and that skill to say, I'm going to learn this STEM stuff in the math and science, and then I'm going to apply it to my problems, and I'm going to apply it to my students, or I'm going to use that and bring that to the table at whatever company they work for, or whatever work group or student group, right? And so that's what we want, right? And so that gives them the enthusiasm, that lets the students feel like they're belonged and wanted. That lets the teachers feel like I'm going to teach something that is near and dear to me, and I can kind of engage with my students, and that's going to let the parents also relate to what they're talking about. And so if you got all that together, you've got the whole educational community, right? Which is coincidentally the next slide, right? So go take it away.
So as we know, student learning and education in school is not input output, very simple algorithm. It's much more complex than that. It requires not just the students and the parents, but the educators in the classroom, the administrators, the community partners. We have to all make an effort to embed these soft skills in addition to hard skills if we want to be prepared for tomorrow, which we do. So we need a systemic effort.
Exactly. So, and so as we talked about on the previous slide, so how you implement it, right? So I'm sorry, you stay on that slide. Yeah, how will you implement it, right? How are you engaging the whole educational community when you do these things, right? Are you engaging one part or the other? How will you put that together? What type of engaging STEAM activities mean, or what type of engaging STEAM activities are good for your audience, right? Do you have littles and elementary kids, and do they love, I don't know, Minecraft? Do you have olders and they love everything about being a doctor, or love everything about YouTube, which is one of our popular adventures, right? Are you being
Among Us? I heard adults are getting really deep in Among Us now too.
Oh yes. Do they want to play Among Us? And hey, is that a game that we want to play together, right? So let's do a little networking while we're kind of talking through this. And in the chat box, can you say where you're from and kind of what either what activities are you already doing in STEAM or SEL, or kind of what would you like to do in the future with respect to STEAM and SEL? So we can kind of get a little networking here while we're doing our presentation and kind of get to know each other, right? And so I think the last point on this slide, though, while we're doing that is how are we being intentional about SEL, right?
Yes, and growth, and we're not going to get too deep into growth mindset today. We're not trying to like load you with a ton of new topics, but if you have heard that word, it's just insinuating this idea that everyone isn't born with a fixed amount of knowledge or a fixed amount of skill or a fixed amount of intelligence. Instead, research shows us that you can flex the brain like a muscle in the other parts of your body. So if we keep telling ourselves, yes, I can, or if we keep encouraging that failure is not an end point, but it's a stepping stone to go forward, then that also helps encourage both STEAM and SEL growth.
Exactly. And we want to be intentional about that, right? And so like when you're doing your lesson plan, we want to make sure it's not just steps 1 through 10, go, right? We want to like kind of like, we want to more and more not fall into SEL. We want to say, this is going to be a belonging section, right? Hey, you know what? This is going to be a section for active engagement. This is going to be a session where we really want our kids to assert themselves, right? And if you start being more intentional about it, you start getting some more of those deeper outcomes as you kind of keep seeding it, right? So if you have something to share in the chat, please do. We'll kind of keep monitoring it in terms of, hey, what are you currently doing? So, hey, Cynthia participated. Thanks, Cynthia. You want to read it, Ms. Jacqueline?
Sure, that they're implementing SEL as best they can.
Yep.
And trying to meet the basic life needs. Yes, I just wrote a whole blog about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how you're right, we have to attain to their basic needs first. And one of those, well, the next step after basic needs is social and emotional. So once students we make sure that they have access to food and water and oxygen, and they're not in a COVID frenzied environment, the next step is really making sure that they have that emotional support. I love that.
Yep, that's great.
And please continue to, if you want to add more information in the chat box, but I think Corey and I will just continue through a couple slides while you're finishing to type in how SEL will look at your site and STEAM.
Yep. And kind of brainstorm on that. And so with that said, just want to kind of give kind of the forum the opportunity to say, hey, you can partner with us. So if you want to partner with hands-on technology education, by all means, right? So we go through a exposure, not exhaustion philosophy for all of our programs, right? So that's a really, really big thing. We really feel like, if your kid wants to get a degree in engineering, there's plenty of time for that, but we want to get them excited about it. We want to get them going and feeling like there's something they can do and want to pursue later. So we do summer camps, after school and workshops, professional development. Most of our PD is, working with who on the other side of the screen, Miss Elevated Classroom. She'll tell you about that next. We do tech adventures, right? And so we have a long list of them. I didn't want to overload the slide, but some of the most popular ones are, hey, YouTuber, hey, are we going to do like a Shark Tank entrepreneurship event? People love robot coding and building. Everything comes with like an engineering core, whether that's CS, EE, mechanical engineering. I could go on and on because I love this stuff. But yeah, there's tech adventures, and those are really important for kind of getting that buy-in from day one. And just some overall highlights, right? So I guess this is to say we've done this before. So we've done over 40 camps since 2014. I feel like that was yesterday, but we've done over 40. Current programs include, we're doing a YouTuber and computer science PD actually with the County Office of Education. It's an ongoing program. We're already through 4 weeks, and we're working with the expanded learning staff on this type of curriculum and how do they get it implemented into their organization. So that's kind of one of our specialties lately. We're doing a monthly coding workshop with the Coronado Public Library. That's free, and anybody can sign up, targeted at 4th through 8th graders. And hey, you can learn how to code a video game or code a vending machine, all these cool things. And we're also doing a Tech Adventure Club for a Diversity Girls Leadership Academy. It's called the Fancy Leadership Academy. And they're really, really great. They're super, super smart. And we're doing, again, relevant activities for that age group, right? They want to say, hey, how do I become a doctor? I want to know about that. Or, hey, how do I leverage my social media page? Or how do I, learn about artificial intelligence? So all these things, they like the practical part of it, and then we can bring them to the fundamentals as they get more and more interested. So I think that's really cool. And if you need to contact us, hey, there you go on the screen. There's the website, techadventurecamp.com. There's an email, support@hands-on-mobile. Of course, Facebook and IG are active, and they have lots of great pictures and moments from over the years and recent. So please, definitely, if you would like to partner with us, we would for sure love that opportunity to partner with you as well and kind of collaborate, kind of how we collaborated very much with Elevated Classrooms.
Yes, thanks, Corey. So if you would like to partner with Elevated Classrooms or, hands-on technology and Elevated Classrooms, like we said, we do a lot of work together. We're working on maybe calling us SoCal STEMco, but we could also partner with us separately. So our services include, we have professional learning in SEL that includes professional learning for teachers and administrators and parents, as well as some student activities. I have a ton of STEM professional learning. That's really my background. I studied directly under Dr. Roger Bybee, so the 5E model is my jam. But we have a lot of, and we also have coaching and consulting. So if your site is trying to quote unquote reopen or reimagine itself for that April deadline that a lot of us are trying to work for, we would love to partner with you. But we have a lot of other ways that you can partner with Elevated Classrooms if services aren't exactly in the cards for you right now. So our social media, we're Elevated Classrooms on almost everything except Twitter because it's too many characters. So on Twitter, we are Elevated STEM. And please feel free. I have a ton of free resources online. I have a great blog post from last week featuring a local superintendent who is a female and talking about the importance of having female leadership in education just as much as male leadership.
Awesome. do we want to end on that recap slide, and then we can just kind of take any kind of questions from there? So, oh, actually, no, that's good.
I was also thinking, should we ask this in should we ask it as a chat question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah, sure, for sure. That works. So, boom.
Likert scale is not an option, but the other options are.
It's all good. I always have more material just in case. And so we did.
Teaching 101.
Right. And so, hey, in this workshop, right, we talked about fighting Zoom fatigue with engaging tech adventures, but being intentional about SEL. So with that, how do you feel about fighting Zoom fatigue compared to just an hour ago? Do you feel, neutral, better prepared, less prepared, much less prepared, much better prepared? Let us know in the chat. How do you feel about Zoom fatigue compared to just an hour ago, right? And we definitely would love to hear from you, take any questions, and kind of go from there. And so with that said, that's our major content.
So if you want to take, if you have questions, like Corey said, if you want to take yourself off mute and ask them, or if you want to throw them in the chat, we'll keep looking. We got a few minutes before your next session.
Yeah, yep. So we strove to be on time, and we were that. So good. Prepared, because sometimes I feel like I overthink it. Awesome, Cynthia. I mean, that's life. That's that's how we do. It's always better, more prepared, have more than less. But hey, when you have a strategy, it helps. It helps kind of calm you down. Diana, or I hope I said your name right. So better prepared. Definitely appreciate that. Is there anything particular, Diana, that was helping you, or like something that's interesting to you, or making you better prepared, or helping, like, hey, I want to try this later? If you have anything particular, it'd be awesome to hear that as well. And so yeah, we're hoping to give people those introductory resources and skill sets to kind of attack that Zoom fatigue problem. But also kind of trying to say, hey, we can help it, we can partner with you, and we're more than happy to kind of collaborate with you as well. Ooh, quick draw. Yes, quick draw is one of my favorites. It's a guaranteed winner, right? And it's working very well. There's a game that we didn't play because we knew we didn't have enough time. It's called Scribble.io. It's so quick draw is one that we draw and the computer guesses. Scribble.io, other people guess. The only advice for Scribble.io is make your own private room so people can't just jump in. So Scribble.io is another good one. Create own room for it, and I'll put that on here for drawing. All right. So
anyone else want to take themselves off mute? And if you have a question, comment, concern, idea, anything.
Oh, there's a survey. Do you want to share the survey? There's a let me see. Oh, okay. No, okay. So there's a survey, and check this out. Michelle put the survey in the link. There's an opportunity drawing in that survey. One of the part of the opportunity drawing is you could get free services, right? So you can get, for 30 students in your organization, you can get a hands-on technology education tech adventure brought to your classroom for 2 hours, right? All supplies included, instruction included. We'll come to you, right? And there's other things in there. We weren't the only ones that gave things in the raffle, or sorry, not the raffle, the opportunity drawing. But there's also, hey, do you need a professional development? And so if you're really interested in, we'll kind of get you started, and we'll, get you that intro professional development too. So there's opportunities if you fill out the survey, and if you want to win, got to fill out the survey in that. And I think that's a great way to kind of get started. And if you don't win, then definitely just contact us, right? So I think that's cool. All right. So that's it. It's 11:49.
Yeah, well, I just want to say thank you so much to both the presenters. I apologize. I feel like I didn't introduce Jacqueline enough at the beginning due to my old faulty script. So I thank you for your grace and forgiveness on that. But really want to just say thank you so much for giving us some takeaways that can be implemented right away. And, thank you to everybody for their time this morning. And best wishes for everyone to have a great afternoon, great weekend, and keep doing what you're doing.
Awesome.
Thanks so much for having us and coming, everyone.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. Remember, engaging tech adventures plus SEL equals goodness. And we are here to help you elevated classrooms as well as hands-on technology education.